it is Nationator 5000. And you know what I like? The real life. And you know what I like even more about real life? The animals in real life. And that's why we're doing this about Minecraft. And you might be wondering, Nash, why is DLA only in great tier? And also, what is it? Oh wait, you already know what it's about. We are ranking animals in Minecraft that are exclusive to Minecraft based on how well they would be in the real world. We got the meta changers up here, which would be builds so great that they would straight up change the meta. Maybe even being able to defeat the overpowered human build. And then we got the AIDS ones, which are just would be AIDS to play. I had to set up some few ground rules first. First off, if it's just human, but if it's not different enough from a human, or if it's not too genetically close to a human, we're not counting it. Like the Enderman, Villager, who are all connected to humans. However, I did decide to count the Giant, except most of you might not like what I have to say about the Giant, but that later. First off, you have a first top tier, and it is the Iron Golem. The Iron Golems would definitely be a top tier, because one, they don't have to eat, and although they can't reproduce, I still think that they would be a top tier because of how strong they are and how they don't have to eat. Because realistically, most things in Minecraft cannot be a single Iron Golem. Not to mention if they team up with humans, which would be the best strategy ever in my opinion, they would just nothing would be able to stand up to them. Then cave spiders would definitely go into I mean, realistically, they don't do too much damage with their bite, and their poison may or may not be venomous. So I think they're definitely a high great tier, but I wouldn't call them a meta changer. And regular spiders are actually gonna go lower. You might be wondering, Nash, why? Well, it's because, actually, you know what, now that I'm saying that out loud, they're just regular spiders, but bigger. So that means that they would prey on bigger prey, like raccoons. So logically, they would be one of the best mobs ever. I don't think I need to explain why the Wither would be a game changer. Now, I'm going to assume that this thing would need to eat somehow, but even then, it's clear that it wouldn't be a problem to find food, since it could literally just eat anything, destroy the world. It would definitely be a meta changer. But I know, and I'd say it would be even more of a meta changer than the Warden, because although the Warden, don't get me wrong, it would be a top tier beast of destruction. Despite being blind, it has the strongest moves, has the most defense, and they can spawn in groups, so they would be pretty intimidating. However, the fact that they can't see means that they can't dominate most areas. They definitely be able to dominate and survive in whatever area they want, but they definitely won't be able to dominate. Now, Vexes I'm going to have to put slightly lower than the Allays, because I would have to rely on the Vokers to, help them and unleash them. However, despite that, I'd say that they would be an okay mob to play as. And then Slimes, I mean, they get some gross points for being made out of mucus, I guess. I don't know. So I guess that would make it so that most of their prey wouldn't want to touch them. Except I'm pretty sure most of the prey would fight back pretty easily. So I'm going to have to put the Slimes in shit tier. Especially because frogs in real life might want to eat them. If Minecraft is included. We're basing this off Minecraft, so yeah. Alright, now you might be surprised, but the silverfish, I believe, would actually be a meta changer for one simple reason. It would compete with the rats. And you might be like, Nash, who the fuck cares about the goddamn rats? Well, rats are some of the most overpopulated ass beings in the whole world. And these guys are literally just the size of rats, except they have spikes on them. Literally, they would be the new rats, except 10 times scarier. Although they're definitely the least meta-changing. Okay, now then we got our first age tier. This guy would not be a good build to play. Not in the slightest. In fact, I would argue that would be the worst. First off, is that this thing is definitely organic in some ways, so it would definitely have to eat. Except, how's it gonna eat if it's stuck in a cube all day? Sure, it gives it defense, except if it can't move, it won't be able to do anything. And not to mention, maybe it would be able to catch things in its, big casing. However, the only reason why it works in the end is because it blends in with the end. However, if it just looks like this, it's gonna be pretty obvious that that's not a normal block, and it will be found out pretty soon. Next up, we got our next freaking meta changer, and that's the Ravagers. Despite the Ravagers being a big tanky boy, which would normally be seen as a bad thing because, well, they gotta eat more food, I predict that they would be able to compete with top tiers like hippos because of their strong jaw and horns. And not to mention, they look like they could be omnivores too. And top tiers like bears also follow that strategy. And realistically, they could probably take down most mobs in their area. If they don't end up being apex predators, I'm gonna be surprised. Alright, we got another shit tier. This guy. Do I really have to explain? Although he sounds good being this big old bird in the sky, carnivore, take over the skies. Nah, he burns in the daylight. I said my piece. Alright, next up we got killer bunnies. Now, killer bunnies would definitely not be meta changing because, well, rabbits aren't top tier. But there is indeed an argument to be made that it would be able to take down other tiers like spiders up here, and also real life animals like maybe even raccoons that are bigger than rabbits. And they might even be able to make the rabbits actually good animals to play as. Okay, this would definitely just be a mid tier, alright? Like the rat already took over, buddy, and you don't have any special abilities that would make you even close to being able to take him down. So you're actually going to shit tier. And then we got the most meta-changing one ever, the motherfucking Ender Dragon, bro. Because realistically, this thing can beat the Withers, thus meaning that it's instantly going to be higher than it. And since the Wither is already a top tier build, it's obviously going to be higher than the toppest of the top. Because Ender Dragons fly in the sky, breathe fire everywhere, where it can destroy anything and anyone, has a ridiculous amount of health, is just insanely strong, and yeah, that's all I need to say. Guardians and Elder Guardians would be alone they would probably be okay builds, but the fact that they go in groups makes them strong. They would already be in great. They would be at the low middle changers actually. The fact that they go into groups makes them stronger, and not to mention most of them are. When their Elder Guardians are at the adult form, which is this, I'm including Guardians in this, by the way. Just thought I would mention that. They would realistically be strong enough to take down sharks and other fish. So, they would probably screw up the whole ocean, except they would be the kings of the ocean. So they're actually going to go at the top of meta changers. Zombie horses are definitely going into AIDS tier. They literally die if they'll literally just die out eventually because, well, who would want to own a zombie horse and they can't reproduce? Creepers I would actually argue to be a pretty good road to the middle of great tier for one simple reason: they explode, and no one would want to eat the creeper because, well, they don't want to risk getting blown up. I think I said my piece. Snowmen would be the worst builds in this current real life. Like, bro, who the hell would want to play as a goddamn fucking snowman? They die from rain. They die from being in hot areas. Even their one attack, throwing snowballs, would not be a pretty good attack. Well, now that I say that, though, no one would really eat a snowman because it is what I would say if it didn't have a freaking pumpkin on its head. So it would literally be at the bottom of the food chain. So it definitely goes into AIDS tier. Alright, again, these things would just die out because no human would want to have this as a pet. Although I will say most people would much rather have this thing as a pet than, well, a zombie that would probably turn them into a zombie. But I don't really care. This is still going into AIDS tier. Alright, next up we got the mushroom. Mushrooms would definitely be just okay. They're just cows, and the mushrooms are definitely not as unique as you would think. Even if they were to team up with humans, the humans would just eat them alive. Not really that impressive. Same with squids. They would just be those squids. Sure, they would be able to spray glowy ink, but they would also be making attention to itself, just breaking themselves down. Next up are the zombies. And the zombies are going to have to go into shit tier, because The thing is that they are way too big, and since we're including all Minecraft mobs, they wouldn't even be that meta-defining compared to the rest of them. Thus meaning that they're gonna have to go into shit tier because they would be way too big, and they would have to. Because, like, sure, during dinosaur times, this would be a good build, except it's not the dinosaur times anymore. Sorry, big guy. It would just be way too big. It would be eating too much. And since it's a carnivore, because it's a zombie, it would have to find live living things. So it would constantly have to be eating. And the only way it would be able to eat is if it would go after the humans. It can't reproduce, many other things. Also, baby zombies would be somewhere on great. And yeah, that's it. I just decided to talk about something that relates to nature one day. Yeah, just... I know this is random, but goodbye and Merry Christmas. Nash wishes you a Merry Christmas. Nash wishes you a Merry Christmas. Nash wishes you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I hope you got lots of Lego for Christmas. I hope your Christmas was really, really lit. I got cool gifts, which included a Lego Ravager, so that's why I decided to make this video, because of Lego. But